Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special review of the Geekverse podcast / reviews. I am the Clown Prince podcast, Trav Snell. I'm joined by my other Geekverse cohort.
I am the I'm the Series X Taylor Field.
Oh boy! And then we are joined by a very special guest. He's been on this feed a few times already with DC fan stuff, but he's making an official episode numbered appearance. Who am I joined by? I'm joined by my Marvel Alliance cohort.
This is the Uncanny Chris Balga, making my Geek first debut.
Yes,
I'm excited.
This is exciting. You've let's see, technically you've kind of beat Greg because Greg appeared on once, but it was like it was a random thing. You're beating him as far as you were a scheduled guest. You know, you're
Oh, geez, I beat Greg, and he's been a longer time follower than. Ooh, I gotta weigh that over his head.
Oh yeah, of course. So it works a little different here, Chris. But tell everyone at the top where they can find you, because you're gonna tell people where they can find you and what you do, and then Taylor, you're gonna give the links. I'm gonna give the Patreon links, and then we're gonna get going.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Chris Balga. I'm the co-host with Travis at Marvel Alliance, and then I'm also do a show also for the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, World's Finest True Believers, where a guest chooses a comic book arc or graphic novel from any publisher, and we do a deep dive into that. So,
Great show. Chris is. He keeps that Marvel shit running. Last month I was on a lot, and he was just You are, like I've said before, you and Greg, you guys were, this is not to throw any shade to anyone else, but you guys were the number one draft picks when we were talking about doing the network, especially World's Finest. Like, I love that show. So, no, I thank you. We've had a good time. And check out Marvel Alliance. We just an episode, lots of good stuff. And then, now I'm joined by this guy. Taylor, where can they find us?
This guy, joined by this guy.
He's all right. He's all right, you know. Where can they find us, Taylor, on the interwebs?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with the internet connection. Geekverse.ca is our home base. You can find us on Facebook, Geekverse, and you can find us at Twitter, GeekverseCast. And be sure to constantly check every day at 7 p.m. PST on our Facebook for the fan base poll. It's just swapped, at the time we're recording this, within 50 minutes ago. I mean, it's not really relevant, I guess, what time that is, but it's...
time is meaningless anyways.
Yeah. So be sure to check it out, because I think it is... depending when this drops, actually, it'll probably be like Spider-Man versus... Yeah, so it'll be Spider-Man versus Sam Porter from Death Stranding.
But the one that's happening to fill it in is Marcus Phoenix versus Malik from Star Wars Knights of the Republic. That's huge.
Malik is killing him right now.
Is he? Wow. That's, we do these polls, Chris, every kind of months and so, and they're pretty fun. We've done like a Marvel one, we've done a DC one. We did a Game of Thrones one. Our Facebook got attacked by a Stannis fan page. So Stannis won the most popular whatever vote. And it was just so annoying because they attacked it. But that's crazy.
Yeah, you could always put the Spider Woman in there at that point.
Oh, and, yeah. That's who we get attacked by on Twitter. Anytime we mention Spider Woman, we get attacked by them. And then the other one I'm looking very forward to is John Marston versus Cloud. I don't know. Those are two really, I don't know who's going to win that as far as, John Marston's very popular. But, Chris, before we get in this review, I got to ask you a very important question. If I say, if we have a meeting at 12 p.m. and I say the meeting is moved forward by 2 hours, when is the meeting?
2 o'clock?
Yes. Yes, it is, Chris.
Why? What's the proper answer?
Because there's no proper answer, but everyone at Geekverse is against me. I would say because if you're moving it forward, it's going closer to you, because if it's 12 moving forward, it's going to 10 a.m. right? Because it's
No, I've never heard that. That's absolutely bonkers. Who talks like that?
The analogy is to pinpoint how you view time. So to say it's at 10, it shows that you are standing still and time is coming at you. But when you say 2, it means that you are basically going through time.
Taylor's like, time doesn't revolve around you, and I said that's what it does, Taylor. It does. It revolves around me. That's why I perceive it that way.
Definitely with the green tint, you've got this kind of, your bald head right now has
Lex
some
Luthor.
Joker-esque vibes.
Oh yeah, I got the purple too. That's not purple.
That's blue. Whoa.
But as ladies and gentlemen, as always, I want to give a big thank you to Carl Ritchie and Aaron Brain. They're our Patreon producers. You can go to Patreon, join a bunch of tiers. We got 2 new exclusive episodes. We got the Star Wars holiday special commentary track, the one from the 70s. Taylor almost broke his soul. And then we did Jingle All the Way last week. It was Kirklin's first time seeing Jingle All the Way, and it was tons of fun. We'll be doing an After 9 Christmas one, and then we're going to probably do some retrospectives because we'll get in that another day because there's some changes in schedules. But today we're talking about, get back into the green, the Xbox Series X first, and then there'll be a PlayStation 5 review separate from this. So, Chris, you're the guest. I want to start with you. What is your history of the Xbox, and then how does this compare so far to the Xbox, the previous generation that we just came from? Because you guys have a bit edge on me as far as I had 360, and then I jumped over to PS5, PS4. Yeah, I jumped right to PS5. No, I jumped to PS4, and I never got back to Xbox. I was planning on it because the Game's Pass, and that's why I have a Series X now because it's such a great service. But how is it kind of, where does your fandom start at Xbox, and how does it compare so far? And just like, we've only had it for a little over a week, so it's, just kind of impressions, your enjoyment level. But yeah, where are you?
No, I've had an Xbox since OG, so that's I've been, I'd say, my console of choice of doing more gaming on Xbox than PlayStation at that point. And my gaming exactly with Xbox, and I know we'll get into this, the exclusives on Xbox kind of revolve around a smaller group than Sony PlayStation, but my Xbox has mainly been, besides their exclusives, is I play pretty much 95%, 99% of all third parties on Xbox because I think it just does them better.
Yeah.
So, but my impressions of this, it is. I think the design on both systems I have some very interesting issues with at that point.
My fiance today, she opened up our cabinet today to put in. We're watching Harry Potter, and shout out to Xbox. The Goblet of Fire would not play on the PS5. It played on the Xbox. There's no scratches, so shut them. But she opened it up and she just said, "God, this thing is not good looking. Like, God, this thing looks bad." And it's just like, and that in person, I agree. Not both of them look great. I've warmed up to the PS5 one, but it is just like this block. It's just this thing,
When I saw the design, I was like, all right, that's a console. But I do like it. I think I've heard some people talk about, like, I like how they kept the interface, at least in this iteration, with people going into it. I think, the UI at that point, I think that's one of the things I'm still getting used to with PS5 is it is a big drastic change of UI, which again, I like, but it's something I now have to learn how to navigate through. But with Xbox, I'm so used to that ecosystem and how the UI has been created. I can jump right in and know exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing.
Taylor, I will let you go last because you're the Xbox bro. You've been pumping it for so many years. Yeah, so like I said, I jumped from 360 PS4, so this is my first experience with it, and I've really enjoyed it so far. I'm more excited for when I get a bit more free time to really jump in the Games Pass, but I will just say that it's the efficiency of the console so far, the easing of downloading, where things are, even just little stuff. And I will compare, but like even stuff like turning off your controller, I prefer on the Xbox. It's just, you hold that button, it's there, it's good to go. PlayStation, you pop it, go down a little menu. I like the little menu, we'll get in that, but I really enjoy that. There's just an ease of use. And the biggest thing for me is, look at the console. It was bigger than I expected when I got both of them were. The Xbox was big, and then when I got the PS5, I felt like I bought a new home or something. I was like, I have an ant center right here. But this was bigger than I expected. I put it down. So most of the time the look doesn't matter because it's in my cabinet. I don't see it that much, so it's fine. But the biggest feature, and I'd heard this before, and I was talking about this with someone at work, and because they said the same thing, like, oh, I thought it was going to be a gimmick, is the quick resume thing, because I'm so impressed by how much it retains. Because I had played, I think it was me and Taylor did it a while back ago, but I play Call of Duty right now because there's not many games I play Miles Morales, but on PS5 and Xbox Series X, so I've gone back and forth. So PS5 and the controller dies, I just jump over. And I hadn't plugged in and played my Xbox Series X for maybe about, I'll say 4 days for sure, but maybe about 5 days because I was doing some Miles Morales stuff. And the last thing I was Call of Duty. And when I opened up, it was right at the menu, ready to start game. No load time, no having to go through the Treyarch thing. It was just ready to go. Not even having to load my profile. It was just still there. And honestly, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was that fast. Like I said, I had thought, okay, sure, this thing will work. And I haven't even really tested it that much of having, I think they can say like 3 to 4 games at a time. And that's not something I usually do. Usually when I'm playing a game, I got one on the go and then maybe another app. But I was very impressed by it. The UI, I like the customization as far as you can change the color of it and stuff like that. Everything's easy to use. I hadn't played Xbox 360 for a while on Xbox Live, but I linked up my account. That was easy. So my Joker avatar from Arkham Asylum is still there. So it all linked up with my achievements and everything. So controller, as far as this is more newer to me, I've always kind of busted Taylor's balls about how big it is, but now the PlayStation being big, I'm kind of used to it. Oh, what are you going to show me? Okay, visual aid for anyone that's not seen an
Yes.
Xbox Series X controller. That's the same, but I love this is not new because other people have, but I love like the mat, like the finish on it, the hands on the feel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I always joke to that I'm not playing it too much right now, but I think I will be like Chris, where one, this is another big benefit I'll give over PlayStation is the storage wise, having a lot more space, because PlayStation, when I did the transfer, I had to kind of decide to leave some things behind, put them on a hard drive. This, I got lots of space. So I think a lot of games so far, as far as like sports games, Call of Duty, stuff that takes up lots of gigabytes, but maybe I ever play
Mm-hmm.
once in a while, I'm going to put over there. So
Yeah, one of the games the only game I'm playing on it right now is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I've only gotten a little bit ways through it. But like, I think one of the biggest thing is the load times are non-existent. Like absolutely, like
Yeah.
I that's one of the biggest things as these games get bigger and more graphically. At that point, load times just got ridiculous, outright ridiculous. I'll call out Avengers for being some of the longest and most frustrating load times ever, but it does a great job. I love that you reminded me about the the save states at that point, so you jump back in. It just when all the promotion for what this system is saying, like this is the top tier console to get if you want graphics, all the teraflops, everything about it, like it will be the premier console to do this. Is I think the biggest drawback, unfortunately, is that they did not have a game launch with what was expected to be Halo Infinite. With all these studios coming on board for now first party, Game Pass is the reason, is the answer to everything at that point. To have a application or whatever, a system seller, in the sense of you will have first party games day and date that you don't have to pay $60-$70 anymore. You pay $14.95. You can play whatever you want in addition to other third parties that are, but that is a huge thing that I don't know if, I mean, PlayStation might be doing something about it. They're hinting at an idea, but man, Xbox has got one over on them on that one. That is the biggest selling point of an Xbox right now.
Oh yeah, and there's so much further ahead in that realm, and you got to think about what they do with Bethesda potentially in the future. So it's and that's the point I forgot to bring up too. But is the load times is like I play Madden, and I'm usually used to Madden where I'll do some things, and then it gives me enough time. Like okay, I'll pick up my phone because I know I got like a minute and a half of they got to do this that. It's cut down quite a bit, and I'm playing like an older version because it's just on Games Pass. So I'm just playing like the last year's version of Madden. So it's like I don't even know what's going to happen when they make one that's succinct to these new consoles, right? So, Taylor, obviously, you're Mr. Xbox. You've been very excited for this. What are your feelings so far? It's been a little over a week. You got yours on time, unlike myself, who thanks Best Buy got
like
no
if you ever want to
content.
see a panic Taylor, just tune into what I'm up to on like the morning of like launch for orders.
Oh yeah, he was.
Travis is just like putting salt on the wound, posting these gifts. Taylor trying to get his Xbox.
Especially because myself and Jessica already had 2 pre-orders. But in my defense, I did pre-order 2, so if you didn't get one, I had it ready. So it wasn't just
you had an S ready for me. I want an S.
I'm not gonna take your second tier system.
Well, it's true, but yeah. So obviously you're a big fan, and check out. You just dropped a Valhalla review, so you can check that out too. You're playing it on Xbox, but what do you think of the console so far?
I'm loving it. Like for me, it's very much similar to my 1S that I had in terms of like the UI and all that jazz. Like you were talking, Chris, like I'm very big on UI user interfaces and such like that. I think if it doesn't properly like guide you and where you're trying to go, like if you can't find this, like if you can't find the store, I'm jumping all over the place right now. There's like 3 main things to me that you need to get to. You need to get to your games, you need to get to your store, and you need to get to like your community friends list, kind of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I kind of like look at it. And being able to customize the interface of the Xbox, changing your backgrounds, creating groups. I've got groups of games that I need to play. I've got groups for my games that I'm currently playing.
Really? I haven't even done that yet.
Yeah,
that's cool. Okay.
It's really nice to have the tab selection for that, just to keep things more organized, so I don't forget, like, okay, I got to play the new Call of Duty, yada yada yada. it's sleek, it's organized, and I feel like it's much more refined than what was on the Xbox One S, but it's very familiar and very much similar to what was on the previous gen. So it's very nice. The loading times, Call of Duty Cold War, I'm just gonna say this now, are horrendously long. I pop in,
Really? Damn.
I pop in
That's probably
Modern
more of a
Warfare
Call
and
of Duty
Warzone.
problem, right?
It
Right? Yeah.
is for sure. It's just, it blows my mind because you have Valhalla and Modern Warfare, the load times after upgrading, even before, but just upgrading to the Series X with those updates, they're like super quick, like less than like a minute. Even Valhalla being a massive game that it is, it's less than a minute to load it up. And Cold War, I'm sitting there for sometimes like it feels like 2 minutes waiting for a multiplayer match to load up.
Jeez.
It's not good. Um,
Have
I
they
don't know.
have they have is it Activision that's this Call of Duty?
I think it's Treyarch.
Okay, Treyarch. Have they said anything about that they're addressing that, or they?
Not that I've noticed. They've kind of been like quiet. Everyone's been hating on them.
That approach.
Yeah.
Not good.
The Fallout
Yeah, not good
76
at all.
approach. Yeah.
Yeah, that exactly. But overall, the console is just fantastic. I love being able to see the achievement lists in there. I love having to sync it all up. Again, I have the Xbox app, so when I turned on the Series X and it just pops with that QR code, you just basically scan your phone app to it, and then it syncs your account, everything, and loads your Xbox up as it would be, normal, which is great. It was fantastic.
The only thing I don't like when you brought the achievement things, I don't know if I'm a fan of when it's idled, just throwing me random achievements I can do. It's I'm not sure if I could turn that off, but it's just like, get an interception of Madden. It's just kind of, because Emily was watching, she's like, do you just have like Madden on in the background playing itself? I'm like, no, like that's like, it's like, no, it popped. So I thought that was kind of a little strange that those pop up. Even when I'm watching Harry Potter and it's paused, it's like, have you played Madden lately? It's kind of like, like I'm watching Harold Potter, like I'll get back to Madden. Trust me. Don't worry. And it's just like, so if I don't play that, like let's say there's these achievements, right? And let's say 5 years from now, I still have my Series X. Is it still going to be giving me achievements that I could potentially lock from Madden 20, which is like, I feel kind of strange. I don't know. I'm new to that, so I'm not sure if that's something you can turn off or not. But
I've seen it. It's kind of like their screensaver. It'll pop up with different achievements that you're working towards and things like that. I'm not a achievement person. I just achievements are just in the background. It's like I've never, I know
it's a young
somebody's
man's
platinum.
game.
It's not even a young man's game. It's just like I was talking to, I can't remember if it was in our Ultimate Alliance chat or with someone else saying, achievements don't mean anything to me because it's just a pride thing, but I like make achievements worth something to me. Like I can only say like Nintendo, it's not an achievement thing, but like for buying a game, I get these points that I can turn into currency just for buying a game. I'd like something that I can use these achievement points for something outside of pride.
That'd be big. That would be those trophy hunters and whatnot would be rolling in the dough then.
Well, they have a sort of equivalent to that, and I don't know exactly how it works, but when you do certain achievements, then you unlock it unlocks it for Game Pass, I guess, like handing in quests, I guess they call it. And then when you hand in those quests, you get points that you can use to buy certain things. And I've used it to enter in like contests to win Xbox merch and like controllers and stuff like that.
Have you won, or is it just a scam?
No. I haven't won.
I haven't delved too much in. I'm new into Game Pass at this point just because I haven't found it necessary to buy, but I mean the stuff that they're offering, I've enjoyed what I have seen of it. So
one thing I was gonna say is Taylor, with your glasses with the light, Chris, doesn't he remind you the way James Gordon looks like in comic books sometimes, the way they draw him and his like his light and his glasses are always lit up? But no, yeah, I was gonna say that's I think the only thing as far as the games, like the exclusive lineup is one thing that was kind of like, yeah, they don't have too much, and that's why I kind of like I always joke with Taylor because I know how much he loves Xbox, but it was serious. Like when I got the Xbox, he's like, well, why aren't you playing it? But it's just like, because I that's the thing where it's like I did have Miles and I have the Xbox right now. I have honestly used it more as like a Blu-ray player. That will change once I play some more games on it, but there's still just nothing necessarily drive me to play it every day or anything yet. The first day I downloaded some Game Pass games. I tinkered around with it just to test out speed and stuff like that, and all great stuff. As far as the console, I agree with you guys as far as powerful. But yeah, I wish there was something, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, I'm not too mad about it because with my adult life, I only have time for so much. So that's where it's like, you know what? Eventually down the line, I'm happy to have this, and I've really enjoyed it so far. And I think they've, especially for me, haven't played it really. I've played with Tails a little bit, but I haven't been around since the 360 era. It's been a lot, but it still has this kind of like resonating of like the same brand and kind of like like this reminds me a lot of childhood and stuff. So I think they've done I like the UI for the most part. I think there's like a little too much on the main page, like a little too much like widgets and whatnot, but maybe I can customize that and change it up and everything. But I think for the most part the menu is easily accessible.
And the fact that, again, it we don't have the launch game of Halo Infinite,
Mm-hmm.
but it is still selling out every time it pops up at that point. Yeah, they seem to be, at least the last 2 days, I've seen more notifications from IGN deals and Waro 64
Mm-hmm.
for more offerings of Xbox Series X and Series S, but they'll sell out quick. And so it obviously has not hurt its sales at all, not having Halo Infinite. But again,
Mm-hmm.
it probably would have made it 10 times worse getting a hold of one with that at that point. But I'm telling you, having that ability on Games Pass to not have to have that day and date on there, man, that's going to be big.
Well, I feel like PlayStation's kind of doing Xbox a favor right now because they put out that statement. I'm not sure the name of the guy, but he says like we've sold out completely
Yeah.
of PS5.
Yeah.
So now everyone that is going to look at that and be like, well, little Jimmy needs a new console this Christmas, and they're going to be like, oh, Xbox has it in stock. I'll just get him an Xbox or something like that. So
Mhm.
Well, especially
Eh,
like
eh,
I hate to beat the drum, but I always say like I don't know because the other thing is too they could buy an Xbox, and if the kid really wants to play Miles Morales, they can buy it for their PS4. I always think that, and maybe this is why they did that because they knew, well, we're not gonna have too many consoles, and we want to sell those
Yep.
games. But so that's a good thing for both of them. They're both selling. I bugged Taylor that like they said they were bigger than Xbox One launch. They didn't give us any numbers, so literally it could be like I don't think this, but it could literally be like 100 more, and like it's our biggest one, but they don't do numbers anymore because as Phil says, it's not important. Well, it's not important for a few
Sure,
reasons, but
Jan.
yeah, exactly. But the thing is, like you said, they're both successful, and it shows that and even look at Switch, still very successful. It shows that there's a multitude of gaming still like very much alive, and people want what they want. People want the powerful console. I bought for the Game Pass, but again, they got my money, right? They got my whatever $500-$600 because I want to play Games Pass. I don't want to play games on there. So I think they have lots of great services, and Game Pass is like it's only getting better. That's the thing. Like in the future, it's going to get only better. So it's like it's kind of a steal. That's kind of my thing. Like, I bought it now, but it's more like a long-term purchase of like if there's games on there day one, I'll be getting it there. Like the Bethesda games, so and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's going to be the idea, like you're saying, did you have any games? You don't need games. Here's $14.95.
Yeah.
Choose any of these games from Bethesda to first party to EA is now a part of it at that
Mm-hmm.
point. I mean, that's sports, everything. You got enough on there to say that Sony doesn't have an answer for it yet. I mean,
No.
when we get to it, we have a small answer to it, but they basically have said, well, it's not part of our long-term record. Well, maybe.
Oh yeah, you'll love this, Chris. But like Xbox is the buffet place. Sony is the Chinese place where you can get some really good food, but you only get one thing per dish. You get a good wonton soup, but you go over to this Xbox, they got the
Now
whole
you're
buffet.
talking my food language here. I like
Yeah.
this. It's getting
Oh
me
yeah,
hungry.
exactly. So yeah, anything else majorly to add that I've missed or anything to cover?
I do want to talk a little bit more about the launch title. So with Halo definitely being a missed opportunity, not coming out
Mm-hmm.
day one with the console. To me personally, I find that like you, Chris, like you like to play a lot of the third-party titles on Xbox. You're saying
Mhm.
I find that I'm very much similar to that. Like I don't feel like I'm necessarily missing all the games that are exclusives to PlayStation. Like the exceptions, obviously, with the Spider-Mans and stuff. I'll admit
Yeah.
that, Travis. But when you have all these other games, like I prefer to play them on Xbox. So when the Series X came out, for my plate, right off the hop, I'm looking, okay, new Assassin's Creed, new Call of Duty, Star Wars Squadrons, and those are 3 games alone, and then a whole bunch of others that are, on Games Pass and such. So for me, Halo Infinite not being available was definitely not the end of the world, but it would have been so nice to have that exclusive just to give them the extra oomph.
Yeah, and I'm of the point if we have a delay in game, I mean, besides Halo Infinite, now Cyberpunk, 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
but if it gives us a better game, especially where we left Halo 5 at that point, 5, right? 4, 5,
5.
5, yeah. they have to get this right. And the fact, I will take them delaying it if it gives them the time to give back to what the disaster was of Halo 5 outside of the multiplayer. But I think Phil Spector and everyone at Xbox know that they lost against PS4.
Phil Spencer.
Outright,
Phil
Spencer.
Phil Spector's someone else.
I wasn't sure if I heard that correctly.
Phil Spector, yeah, there we go. It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm mixing words.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Phil Spencer said it best, is that they know they lost in that first fight. So they said, we need to develop the most powerful console that not only do we have the Games Pass to go with it, like us, we're going to play third-party games more often on Xbox than PlayStation. Yeah, okay, we don't have as many first-party games that are ready to go yet, but they bought out a good number of them. And Bethesda, don't tell me that you did not put out that Bethesda announcement the day before console pre-orders went up. That was on purpose. You are basically throwing down the gauntlet on that one. So to the point of, I think you said it best, is like, the short term, okay, Xbox is a little bit behind, but not by much. In the long term, I think that it's going to give Sony a run for its money.
Well, yeah, and it's good delaying because you don't want something like that on launch day. You know,
I was gonna say, like, that's
what's that?
Brutal.
That was the alien from the new Halo comment.
Yeah.
I just like to bug Taylor with it, but yeah, and that's where it will be interesting to see, because it shows that PlayStation 2, like, clearly. Like, they had Miles, they had some other stuff, but they're sold out. So it's like they're both doing well, and that's a good thing. So it'll be interesting to see, because you got Bethesda and a bunch of stuff coming down the pipe, but then you also got PlayStation, always something. You know, Kojima's always working on something crazy that people are gonna be like, well, I might not understand it, but I'll give them $70 to find out.
We'll give you a baby and Norman Reedus, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what, Taylor? Maybe one day they'll announce that solo Ghost Rider game for Xbox. Maybe they'll say, you know what, that's
I hope
exclusive.
so.
Anything else, gentlemen, majorly?
Oh, another thing. So I'm trying to remember. So compared to last gen's pre-order fiasco, so obviously it wasn't a hard ordeal to get an Xbox One back in the day. Like, when that came out, when it was launched in pre-orders, like, I walked into the store easily, no sweat, and got one. But how was it for PS4s? I can't remember. Was it difficult as it is now?
For where so the pre-order, I don't think so, because the pre-order thing was tough, because I was working at Best Buy and I just did that manually, but we were there, so we kind of had an idea of when they're going to drop. So it's like, okay, I got my Xbox, PS4. See, I think the pre-order thing, the pre-order 5 for the PS5 was messy. That was a big mistake from them. But I think it was the after where it's like, okay, you might not get some pre-order, but eventually more are going to be coming. I think this has been a lot more different, where them just come up and be like, there's just no more right now. That was not a thing, you know? So that's where I'm not sure if it is a production thing, or it is, and I hope for them that it is just literally their supply and demand, right? Just that many people want, because we don't get stats in Canada and America, but if you looked at, and you know, I'm not making this competition, but if you looked at in UK, they said the pre-orders for the PlayStation was 65% ahead of Xbox. That's, to me, a lot of demand, if that is true, those numbers, right? And UK gives out those numbers. So it's one of those that maybe just people, and I don't even know why, because I'm a gamer junkie. So I want the new console, but there is so many reasons why you could wait. There's not any new games, particularly on the PS5. You get them all on PS4, but I think it's just that kind of, you know, winning formula of, you know, everyone loved Infinity War, hence Endgame's bigger. You know, it's like, and like, it's one of those things, same thing. Everyone loved PS4. It had a great run.
Yeah.
So I think it's just people want to get on that hype train early, where Xbox, I think now it is harder to get it, but you show the difference of a bad launch versus a good launch, and it's been pretty much nothing but good stuff for them for the most part, and they've delivered, because I think all reviews have been pretty good as well. So
yeah, I think you bring up a good point of just, like, as I said earlier, like, Sony won the last generation, clearly not even close at that point. So you go with the one. I wonder, and I think a few of the other gaming podcasts I listened to kind of said it best, is that Sony's in a difficult position because they are the winner. And so what are you going to do next to maintain? Because I think that, and I think both consoles are going to be guilty of this first, because Halo Infinite is going to be available on Xbox One X and S at that point. So it's not going to be, so we have not yet seen what the first console of the new generation only game is going to be.
That
And
definitive,
so
you got to upgrade to get this. And it's like they're both a little scared to do it. It's like
it's gonna come with it, within the next year. There will be a first, and it won't be like one of these tier 2 games. It will be
Yeah.
a big game that's gonna make people want to make a choice.
Or just
Because right
dance.
now, really, there really is no big reason to upgrade to either console at this point, unless you're like us that just really like having the next new better
I've lost. I'm gone.
Especially, I gotta have the new one. Like I don't necessarily. Yeah, he's back. There we go. Were you gonna say anything, Travis, or you look like you're mid-speak?
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, Just Dance could always get out there, but no, it is one of those things where for Xbox it's different because Game Pass, but PlayStation has a lot of PS4s, and when you put those games on PS4s, that sells a lot of copies, right? There's tons of people we know that bought Miles on PS4, so it will be interesting, but it's just an expression that they say in sports all the time, and you can believe it or not, but many people say it's easier to win the belt than it is to keep the belt, and that's the thing with Sony. There's some decisions I've scratched my head and go, I don't know. And I think Xbox, they have a good long game. It's a good start, and I'm very excited to see. I'm excited to see what this console can do once I get a fully new next gen game with it too. All these games are like next gen, but like a real like made for Xbox, made by one of this team. I don't know. For me, it's not so Halo because I'm not really into Halo. It will be more maybe the Bethesda route or something like that in the future. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the console, and I recommend it to people if you're looking for that. But I am kind of like Chris, unless you're like us that really want to upgrade, which I know there's people that do want to upgrade and still don't have it. So we're pretty lucky that we have these consoles. But yeah, I think it delivers. So anything else?
My closing notes, I'm just gonna dive back into the size because I didn't hop in time when you guys were covering that. I do want to say when I was unpackaging it, I loved unpackaging. I thought it was awesome to have like the label on the console when I lifted the hood up and all that stuff. And when I pulled it out, it was definitely like, wow, this is huge words, because the One X or the Xbox One was very large. The One S was significantly smaller, and I loved it. And the One X is even more tiny, which is great. But now this thing is just double in size, and it blew my mind. That being said, like it's tucked under my TV stand where there's a nice big open spot for that vent to just shoot that hot air out into the room, so it's not going to overheat, and I don't have to really look at it. But when you opened up your PS5 and I saw how big that was compared to the Series X, like, holy shit, these next gen consoles are just massive.
Oh yeah, every other device in the world is getting smaller and smaller. Not gaming consoles,
No. But I like how we brought up, Taylor. I think in the sense of, as we lead into the PlayStation 5, the opening up, the presentation of how they package Xbox, that was like within itself, like you're opening a gift. You're opening a very cool thing. Like, we're going to show this to you. It's this thing, even though it's not the prettiest thing to look at compared to the Sony one, which is aesthetically different. It is a big box, but they did a good job packaging it, while Sony it's a box. It's just carrying it at that point, which is fine, but it was more of an experience to open up. It sounds kind of silly to open up the Xbox Series X versus the PS5.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. So that's our thoughts on that. All the links were up top. Thank you very much, Chris, joining us for this one. I know you're going to join us for the PS5 one coming up here, but
sure, why not?
Yeah, Taylor, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Send me that after. You know what to do.
I know.
Okay, I will talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.